Good morning. My name is Jason, and I'm with Focus Counseling and Therapy in Daphne. I want to talk a few minutes about Generation X and some of the things that we need to consider. Are you Generational X? The odds, if you were born between 1965 and into the early 80s, you're Generation X. If you remember the original Star Wars in the theaters, or if you saw E.T. in the theater, you are Generation X. Now, you hear a lot about the baby boomers, you hear a lot about the millennials and stuff, but you don't really hear a lot about Generation X. We're kind of like the forgotten generation. But we're very unique, and we should be proud of it in some ways, in that we are going to be the last generation that remembers what the world was like before the internet and what the world was like after the internet. We remember what it was like having to go out and make friends and make relationships and maintain them over time, because we didn't necessarily have text messages and emails at first that were really utilized well like they are now. But with that being in a pretty special position, we got two challenges facing us as Generation Xers that we need to be ready for. One is the baby boomers. The baby boomers are getting older. Now, because of modern technology, they're going to be living well into their 80s and their 90s. And these are our parents and our grandparents. And they're going to need assistance. They're going to need help. They're going to need people to help take care of them, to provide them support. And a lot of it's going to fall on our shoulders as Generation X. And we need to get ready for that. We need to be prepared for that for when it happens, and it's going to happen. The other thing are the generations below us. The millennials, Generation Z, Y, and I guess the world ends after that. But this generation, they're primarily communicate digitally. And it's interesting because they are the generation that is reporting the highest amounts of depression and anxiety and just loneliness and isolation, even though they're most connected. And the idea of having face-to-face interactions and relationships can be a source of stress for them. So we as Generation X should be the ones that help mentor them on how to cultivate relationships and maintain these relationships outside of the digital realm. That is going to be extremely important as these folks start entering into the workforce, starting their businesses, starting families, whatever it may be. Yeah, I do think Generation X has kind of been forgotten about, and that's fine. But I just want us to be aware that we do have a responsibility, very much a bigger responsibility for the older generation and the generation coming up. We are almost like a bridge that is going to take the old world and the new world and really bring them together. So 50 years down the road, people are still able to have relationships with real live people outside of the internet and social media. Thank you for your time. If you'd like to know more about my practice, you can go to jjohnsoncounseling.com, or you can email me, jjohnson@jjohnsoncounseling.com. I thank you for your time, for watching, and I hope that you have a great week.